When I started playing the guitar, I think I would have been about 14 or 15 years old. I had a guitar teacher, and his name was Frank. And I looked him up online, and he's still playing. He was quite an inspiration for me. He was kind of like a beatnik kind of guy. He was extremely cool. I lived in quite a sort of suburban sort of country town, and he had more of a metropolitan vibe to him. I don't know whether he had an accent. I can't recall. He might have been from London, which would have been very dangerous. And he dressed as in the kind of hippie style, I seem to remember. And he lived with his wife, and he played the guitar all the time. And he had a Hawk guitar that I thought sounded great. And he had a very positive and aggressive style of playing that appealed to me. And he was a bit of a character, I suppose. I always remember he invented a type of tuning for the guitar that he called open Egyptian. He was into Egyptian things, and he turned me on to looking into Egyptology. So he was probably a bit into the mystic. And the music that he played on his Egyptian tuning did sound Egyptian for some reason. I have no idea how he did it. And he would also play the guitar looking into an alcove facing the wall. He taught me that if you want to hear the instrument and project it, even sometimes the best thing you can do is to face the wall with an acoustic guitar, because then you get the well, it's obvious, I suppose. We used to call guitars boxes in those days. We had boxes, and the one that I had to have I originally had a nylon string guitar, but that wasn't suitable for what I wanted to do, and so I managed to get an Egmond guitar, and for some reason I bought a 12-string guitar I think on the basis that 12 would be better than 6. And also I used to listen to Leadbelly quite a bit. But soon I just had 6 strings on the Egmond, and I learned to play on that with just the 6. I kept it 6. I don't think I had another guitar until I got my Selma. And the Selma was a great instrument. It was on the style of the Gibson J160, I think it is, with a dark old sunburst finish. It's probably worth some money now. I actually gave it away, that instrument, in Italy, because I'd bought a very expensive and very fine Larry Vey, and it sounded to my ear just amazing compared to the Selma. But the Selma had a certain character about it, and also it had a wonderful pickup that might have hummed a little bit, but it produced the sweetest tones when it was plugged in. It had 2 controls, volume and tone, on the table, manufacturer's controls with an S. It was fashioned exactly the same as a Hofner, and I think they sold the same guitar with the Hofner name also. And the pickup was wonderful, and I took it into the guy that I bought the Larry Vey from, and he advised me to rip out the pickup, and he would fit a modern, much better one. And I bowed to his wisdom. And I always remember he took this old pickup and just threw it in the bin. And the guitar was just ruined. The amplified sound had gone completely. All the character of the guitar. I suppose you'd have to research online to see, but it's rather a rare part. It was quite a simple piece of kit, but it just sounded amazing. It had developed a bit of noise, you see. This was the problem. It needed probably a bit of maintenance or perhaps even rewinding, but it would have been worth it. That was my Selma. Then the Larrivée, which I had for about, I think, 2 or 3 years. And my wife threw it out of the window during an argument or during a rant of hers, a justified rant. I'd been unfaithful with a friend of hers on that occasion. And I paid for it with my Larrivée guitar flying out of the window. Fortunately, nobody was walking below because we lived on the 2nd floor. And the guitar was just in pieces. I was heartbroken, of course, but it was such a dramatic gesture, and the whole scene that was to some extent that characterized what my life had become in Italy. I was always in a state of fear because I didn't know what was going to happen next. And of course, I suppose my wife would say, well, it would depend upon my conduct, but I couldn't gauge what my conduct was meant to be precisely. We were at war, really, within the family, and a war had been smouldering, and no attempt. I mean, I am quite the peacemaker, but I was unable to find any enduring peace. And then, of course, there's the matter of sacrifices. Well, you say, well, you must sacrifice to have peace. I understand that, But even that was never enough, you see, because if you're only going to be on good terms as long as there's sacrifice happening, then, then it becomes, well, why should you sacrifice something that you want to do just to please somebody else? Makes no sense. It's the whole messed up notion of romantic love, ultimately, which is really just cinematographic. Men and women should live together for sobriety in their lives and to help one another and to strengthen one another. This is the function of a woman in a man's life and a man in a woman's life. We're made by God, really, to share our lives. Of course, it's not obligatory. Some of us can escape that tyranny